Hi, welcome to another episode of We Know Everything Almost. My name is Cook, and today we have a very special guest with us today, Bill Marcy. Bill Marcy is running for the 2nd Congressional District in Mississippi. He beat me, but we'll let him get by with that. He's a good man, and I appreciate him coming out. We're supporting him because our main goal. What is that, Bill? What's our main goal?
Our main goal is to beat Benny Thompson.
Beat Benny Thompson.
That's right.
Get him out of office.
Bye, Benny.
He's going to boot Benny. He's been there for, 18 years?
Yeah, about 18 now.
18 years. Really hasn't done a whole lot for this district.
Benny's done very good for Benny.
Yeah, he's done very good for himself.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I'm a little older than most folks around here. I'm 64 years old. I'm currently a resident of Vicksburg, but I come via this great city of Chicago, Illinois. My father moved from Meridian, Mississippi, and went to Chicago. Met my mother, a Tennessee girl, and raised a family, my sister and I. Eventually came back home in 1970, and I followed him around 1978. And basically, I always tell folks I've been raised by Mississippi Southern parents and grandparents, so I'm as Southern as it gets.
Yeah, you can't get much more than that.
That's right.
But we've got, at the time we're taping, we've got 92 days?
92 days, but who's counting? Who's counting, right?
And so one of the things we want y'all to be sure to do is, if you're not registered, go register. Time is getting short, and we've got to put some good conservative people in there. Bill is a good conservative candidate.
I appreciate it. You know, the main thing that you and I both ran on, we ran on very similar issues, not only to get rid of Benny, but we wanted to make sure that the country survived. And we wanted to make sure that we believed in small government as the Constitution. We believe that the government that's closest to the people should be the most powerful and not the federal government system. We believe that the Constitution is not a living document. It's something that puts constraints on government. And President Obama says he didn't like the Constitution, especially the first 10 amendments, because they're all negative. And exactly that. You know, he's a good lawyer. I'm glad he got that. They're all negative. It tells government not what it can do. It tells government what it cannot do. And that is what the founders were most concerned about, that government got too big, and government would get too big. So, you know, these are the basic principles. On the other hand, you know, we have our Democratic friends being led by the President, Nancy Pelosi, Harry Reid, Benny Thompson, and they believe the government should be large. Government should be intrusive. Government should tell us what to do and what limitations that we have. You know, this is just the opposite of what the founders were. And it's all he's done is created another form of slavery, and that's exactly what the founders didn't want. You know, they were slaves to the monarchy, and at that point in time, they said, no, we want to let the world know that our rights come from not man, okay, or king. It comes from God Almighty, okay. And then so government is limited, but what we find that Benny wants to do, and most progressive socialist liberals want to do, is make government real big. The bigger, the better.
Well, that's what it looks like with cap and trade and all this. They're trying to get, you know, they're not happy with just running our lives. They want to get into our lives. They want to see, you know, control how hot your house is going to be in the winter, how cold it's going to be in the summer, how much, you know, your gas you're going to use, you know, which, you know, and we're down here at Mazzio's, and the guys that deliver, you know, they're going to be rated on how much, you know, gas they're using. Well, they use a lot of gas.
Absolutely.
You know, for the pizza. And so, you know, that's something I don't think the government, and, you know, we were at a forum today, and I liked what you said. The main job of government is just to protect us. Just to protect us,
you know. The Constitution gave very little power to the federal government other than that main thing. It also gave the power to keep the states from squabbling.
Right.
And that was a big thing in the Articles of Confederation. The states were so independent that they didn't want to agree. So they rewrote the Constitution, and they said, listen, we'll give the government, the federal government, a little bit more power, but we're going to leave most of those rights within the states. But that states' right issue that has become like a buzzword the liberals use, and they tried to tie it into segregation, state rights and segregation, but it was never that way. Okay, the states' rights means that the states have the right to control what happens within their borders, with the exception of the first 10 amendments. Okay, and in those first 10 amendments, it gave anyone who was considered a second-class citizen made them automatically first class. So the federal government had the right to step in and say, you're mistreating, say, black folks here in Mississippi. But it has nothing to say about states' rights. Okay, so our Democrats they like to play these little word games with folks who are sensitive on certain words, and we find it happening all the time. But what African Americans wanted and what Dr. King wanted was an even playing field. Wanted to be treated just like everybody else. He didn't want anything special, just didn't want you in my way. Treat me like a regular citizen. And we didn't want individuals in our way. We didn't want the government in our way. We just wanted to be left alone. And I think that's what most Americans want, just to be left alone.
Well, that's why, the thing is, the only reason I could see government getting involved in that would be if it crossed the line of constitutional rights.
Right.
If I was taking your constitutional rights,
right.
What? But, I don't see that much today. The only people I see really doing that are the ones that are calling conservatives
Absolutely.
racist.
Absolutely. At the meeting we were at the forum, I deliberately took the point to call Benny Thompson a racist, because Benny Thompson is racist. Benny Thompson sees the world in black and white. He sees there are black folks over here and there are white folks over here, and he only represents the black folks, and what with the white folks. Somewhere in this deal, this is wrong. If it was wrong for white people to do it back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, it's wrong for Benny Thompson to do it in 2010. Right. Okay, right is right, wrong is wrong. But these are the ways guys like this. Now, I understand, Benny Thompson is not just a guy that's in office. Benny Thompson comes from a history, and looking at his own words in different interviews over the years, Benny Thompson considered himself a radical in the late 60s, early 70s. This was far different from what Dr. King was talking about. Dr. King wasn't advocating violence. Benny advocated violence. Dr. King was talking about love and peace, but Benny was entirely different. So this is a whole new world that has been opened up. So what we need to do as conservatives understand that any radical, be they on the left side or the right side, are wrong. Okay? We have a Constitution, and that's the document that levels the playing field and tells us what kind of rules we can have. Benny doesn't believe in that. Benny believes that he makes the rules as he goes along.
Well, I'm talking about, it looks like Congress pretty much, believes that way, because whenever they pass a bill, they exempt themselves.
Absolutely.
They don't have to follow, equal hiring practices.
That's right.
They don't have to follow, fair pay and all that. I mean, they still can make pretty good money.
That's right. The health care bill was one of those things that they exempted themselves out of. They came with this idea that you could literally have too good of health care. Okay, and they said, if you had real good health care, I mean, really good, they call it a Cadillac health care plan, and then you were going to be taxed because your health care plan was too good in relation to, with the exception of the Congress. The Congress could have the best health care, and of course there would be no penalties for that. So we should understand that this is what happens when you have big government. Government gets beyond its means. It goes beyond the borders. It says that Richard and Bill are restricted under this law, but they, the elite, the ruling class, are not. So these are the things that we have to be careful about with big government.
Still building up that class warfare.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Where we're going to tax the rich but not the poor, but of course they keep lowering the bar of what's rich.
Well, we all want to one day become rich.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and if you take my opportunity, my chance to become rich the richer way, well, why do I need to go out and work so hard?
Right.
Okay, and this is what the communist system found out. If everybody gets the same, if you go to work or not, how many people will decide not to go to work?
Right.
Okay, so I'm the kind of guy, I like to get up a little earlier. I like to work a little harder. I like to stay at the job a little later, and for that I should be compensated. Okay, so and I think that's how most of us. If we don't think of it for ourselves, we think of it for our children. We want our children to be the best. Okay, and we want our children to have the best, but we don't want to put any caps on them. But Benny Thompson tells you that the American dream doesn't exist for Americans. He says the American dream is a dream that some kind of way died years ago. No, it hasn't died. Okay, that dream exists right now. I'll be honest with you. I was at a church service yesterday right here in Jackson. And it was primarily an African-American church. And the pastor got there when he got to give his message. He said, I just want to tell all the children out here, you are not entitled to anything. We owe you nothing, okay? You have the best system that we've all ever wanted. And now you need to go to school, and you need to earn it on yourself. But we owe you nothing. Now, there was a black minister talking to a 100% black congregation there's this special entitlement does not exist.
More parents would teach your kids that.
Mm-hmm.
We'd get a whole lot better.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Right? My son's back on the camera. I'm not sure he'd understand. So, but that's this they're saying is the first generation that will probably not be better off than the previous generation because of all the tax cuts
right.
and the extra spending, the $1 trillion deficit,
that's right.
and all that. So let me ask you this now.
Sure.
Before we move on, what do you plan on doing about some of this?
Well, it's a lot. I had one supporter called me up and was asking me the same question, and she said, "Well, I read on the website your answer to health care." And she said, I don't think it's enough. She says, I think your answer to health care should be, that you can put more things on the table. I says, what we really need is take things off the table. What we need to do is let the healthcare industry grow at its own level. We need to take the restrictions that one person if we live in here in Mississippi, we can't buy an insurance policy out of Arkansas. We have to understand that the free market system is the best system. If one of the things they did is they lifted the restriction on auto insurance, and now auto insurance is very reasonable. They lifted the restrictions on life insurance. A guy 25 years old can get a $500,000 life insurance for $10 a month. Just astronomically low. And the reason is because there's competition out there. Right. Okay, but in the healthcare industry, they require you to buy your insurance from a Mississippi licensed company, and only a Mississippi licensed company. So these 4 or 5 companies here in Mississippi can charge anything they want. Okay, so what we need to do is get government out of the insurance business. Let the insurance business compete with each other. If there's a policy in California that's cheaper than the policy in Mississippi, I might want to buy that policy in California as long as they're going to be able to service me the same way.
I think if we break down those borders, there's like 1,600 different companies.
Absolutely.
My audio man says move your mic closer.
Okay. All right.
Me too.
So these are the things. So, Democrats are very good at telling you, okay, if you elect me, I will do this. Okay, where conservatives say that, forget it. But conservatives say, if you elect me, I won't do this to you. I won't do that to you. I'm gonna let the marketplace lower your. So it's not going to be me. It's going to be the marketplace. Well, if you're a politician who'd like to get reelected, it's better to always say, I can do something for you.
Right.
Okay.
I can give you a handout.
And now you're relying upon me. You're dependent.
One of the things I think that you're going to run into a problem with, and that was one of the things I would have run into a problem with, is we're coming in and saying we're going to stop some of this, like
right.
health care.
Right.
We're going to turn this back. We're going to try and stop entitlement.
Right.
And people are going, well, you're going to take my money away.
Well, but they're like with the healthcare thing, and I always have to remind people. I said, you and I, we drove all over the district, 270 miles from north to south, as they say, the crow flies, and there wasn't a road out there that flew like the crow. Okay, not a one. And so we were in the big cities and we were in the little towns, and we went by a lot of hospitals. How many dead people did you see laying in the street? I was at. Well, you didn't find a guy that had went into the hospital and said he had a serious problem, and they said, you don't have insurance, and they just threw him out in the street and he died. Doesn't happen. Okay, so we already take care of the Mississippians take care of Mississippi people. we have over 700,000 people on Medicaid. That's people who don't have a job and need some type of medical care. There are only 2.8 million people in the state of Mississippi. Okay, so that's over a third of the people almost are already under government care. The other part of it is we have another 700,000 people that have paid for their health care through that program called Medicare. Okay, now this is not a handout. This is something that they've been paying into for 45 years. I just got a notice from the Social Security company. Social Security company says, Bill, we want to thank you for sending us over $100,000 in the 45 years you've been working. I was upset. I said, I have sent these people $100,000, okay? And for that, they're supposed to guarantee me health insurance, even though I have stuff to continue to pay it. Now, we can end this bet, okay? We can say, no more deal. Give me back my $100,000 that I've given you, plus interest, okay? Over the 45 years, that'll add up to about $3 or $4 million. With that money, I will pay for my own health insurance, okay? So we have to understand those people on Medicare are not government recipients. They're recipients, but they're not government wards. But those two government programs, we have almost 1.4 million people. That's more than half the people of the state of Mississippi are. Now the rest of us are working, with the exception of about 20 to 40, about 40,000 people who are actually unemployed in the state of Mississippi. So what we really need to understand is we are already very compassionate. They always keep saying that conservatives were not compassionate. We are extremely compassionate. But somebody's got to work.
Right.
Okay? Somebody's got to pay the bills.
Okay, well, let's move on. We got some video from a town hall that Benny Thompson held. And so we're going to play Benny Thompson in his actual words.
That's right. Greenwood, Mississippi.
What he played. Greenwood, Mississippi. This was from July 7th.
I believe it's July 7th.
Yeah,
The Voters League, I believe, is the name of the organization. The Voters League.
Supposedly one of his biggest supporters.
That's right.
So we're going to play some video here and let you comment.
First of all, we helped President Obama pass a health care bill. We absolutely need a health care bill in this country. We are the only democracy left in the world that does not provide health care for all its citizens. Everybody tells me that they are Christians, but why in the world wouldn't the Christians want to provide health care for other citizens? I don't know. But I am committed to health care. I'm committed to making sure that anybody that's ill in this country will have a place to go. They should not have to worry about the doctor bill. They should not have to worry about anything other than go for that care. I've talked to too many people in this country who've had to deal with doctor bills and couldn't afford to pay them. And in the richest country in the world, that should not be a problem. So I'm proud to have been the only person in our delegation to support President Obama and his effort to provide health care for everybody.
Okay. Benny Thompson on health care.
Benny
Proud.
Thompson.
He's proud. He's the only Mississippi congressman, I guess senator, that voted for it.
That's right. The only congressman that voted for it. Our two senators, Wicker and Cochran, voted against it. And 3 of the 4, including 2 Democrats, voted against it. Benny Thompson is proud that he voted for it. This is one of those obvious cases of a man who is not in touch with this country and the way the country runs. First of all, we're not a democracy. We're a republic. When we do the Pledge of Allegiance, we say, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. Now, there is a big difference, okay? In a democratic society, it's just one big mob. We all decide to get up and vote, and if everybody wants to vote to take Richard's money from him, we just take Richard's money from him. Okay, see, but in a republic, it's a little bit different. We have representatives, and hopefully they have some common sense. But we're getting back to the health care deal. Once you start going down this slippery slope of we take care of our people, and why shouldn't we provide, and we're the only democracy that doesn't have health care, where does that slope end? Well, first of all, remember, we just said that over 1.4 million Mississippians already have government-supported health care, either because of the goodness of our heart, out of our compassion for people who just can't take care of themselves, or for folks who have already paid into an insurance program called Social Security. Okay, so we're already taking care of our people. But the other side is, why should we just give something to somebody because they exist? And if we just give it to somebody, why don't we just kind of give them a house? I mean, I think it would only be fair. I mean, if it's a good thing for us to give them free health care, it should be even a better thing that we give them a house. And I think we should give them a big house, okay? I think that they should have 5 or 6 bedrooms and 6 or 7 bathrooms, and because it's only fair, okay? And why not a nice car? If you got a nice house, you have to have a nice car. You got to get to work. Work? Why should we have to work? Because we're the richest country in the world. So we start going down this slope of we have to because, and then he turns around and he starts talking about our European friends. Okay, now if anybody reads any kind of newspaper, and I'm sure the congressman does, he knows that Europe is in a free fall. Okay, they have gone down. They are 20 years ahead of Benny Thompson. They have given health care, retirement benefits to everybody to a point where no one is working. Okay, now the economy in Portugal, the economy in Greece is collapsing. Okay, in Greece, just take that for example. Not only do they give them free health care, they let you retire at 53. Okay, every year they give you 1 full month's vacation. And in the winter months, you get an extra 2 weeks vacation, okay? So all of a sudden, you have more people sitting at the house than at the job, okay? So there are more people in the wagon than there are people pulling the wagon. So when Benny Thompson says this, he's playing on the idea that we're pretty stupid. We don't know any better, okay? That of course someone wants something for free, okay? So and he's trying to do this class warfare problem between the rich and the poor. Of course, we know he always does it between the white and the black. Okay, so this class envy thing comes in here. But if you want to see how this all works, all you got to do is read a couple of books. You got to read Karl Marx, the Communist Manifesto. You want to see how this game plays, or if you want to read another really exciting book, you can read Hitler's, okay, Mein Kampf. Okay, those books talk about this same issue of a ruling elite that issues out favors to the masses who are too dumb and too ignorant to take care of themselves. So Benny is a Marxist. He belongs to the Congressional Progressive Caucus, which has been aligned for many years with the socialism and communism and Marxism, and it's crazy that we have 80 of our congressmen involved in this. So when we start talking about this, we have to understand that we're listening to a Marxist. We're listening to a man that thinks that Fidel Castro is a leader. You'll love this one, Rich. I don't think I've told you this one. I was talking, you talk to supporters along the road. One prominent gentleman I talked to had visited Benny Thompson's office, and of course Benny didn't want to see him. And but while he was standing out there waiting to be told he wasn't going to see him, he says he saw sitting there prominently a picture of Benny Thompson with his hand around Fidel Castro. Okay, now this kind of just tells you where he stands with America. But this is different now in 2011 than he was when he was a part of the Black Panther movement, the socialist movement in 1970. No, he's just the same man who's grown a little older, okay? But he has the same ideas.
Right. Okay. You said a mouthful there. And I have to agree with all that you said.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is, these people are believing that they're going to get free health care. And he's got them convinced of it, because when last town hall he had earlier this year or late last year, He said, in fact, it was the August one, I think, last year, when everybody got in trouble.
Right. Oh, yeah.
He actually told somebody, when they asked him, how come you didn't tell them they're going to have to pay for that? That's not free. He asked them, he says, are you not a Christian? Do you want to break their hearts?
Well,
And people don't realize, it's not free. Somebody's going to pay for it.
Somebody's going to pay for it. And when you extend the line around the block, then we're going to have to decide who gets what. Because see, there's only a certain amount of room in the system. We already take care of the most serious. Okay, but one of the things that when I was in the military, we found out, there was a boy there that didn't want to get up and go to work that day. And because we have free health care in the military, he would show up and he would go to sick call. Okay? And there was more guys at sick call I had a splinter, I think my back is hurting. I really don't feel good today, doctor. Then you can shake your stick at. So once all of a sudden this starts to happen, and we make this health care available to everybody, all of the minor ailments which you would just normally live with, the guy's gonna go trotting down to the doctor's office. Okay, so that means that somebody's going to have to see him, and somebody's going to pay attention to him, so the line's going to be real long. One of the things that the free enterprise system does, it helps regulate. Okay, if I have to go to the doctor and I got to spend, let's say I go to a clinic, and the clinic says I got to spend $40 to come see the doctor, okay, and I really don't have a real serious ailment, I look at my $40 and I look at my ailment. No. I think I'm going to let this ride a day or two.
I'll go buy $2 worth of Pendo.
That's right. That's
try
right.
that first.
That's right. But if I got a free ticket that allows me to go to the doctor, okay, I'm in the doctor's office. Okay. So this is just human beings acting the way human beings do. Give them something free, they'll stand in line for it.
All right. Now we're going to skip that one. Let's go. Benny Thompson. Now, in that thing, he did compare himself to Christ.
Yes, he did.
About how, and I'm not going to show that one. We're going to try and move on. But how he's doing everything, and he's getting all this abuse for it.
Yes.
This persecution for it. What he doesn't realize, it's not aimed at you. It's aimed at your policy. Well, it's aimed at him, but it's aimed more at his policies and what he's voting for.
Right. The American people have spoken very clearly. And this is not just white people. This is not Tea Party people. This is all Americans, black and white. We don't want this program. Okay. Benny says I'm getting a lot of abuse because those stupid people out there don't know what they want, and I'm going to give it to them irregardless if they want it or not. Okay, so what he needs to understand, that we're telling him very clearly. Now, there's a beauty part of the Constitution. Being both of us being constitutions, we understand this. The Constitution is second to the Bible. I think is an inspired work of God. Second to the Bible. Okay, it gives the American people a chance to talk to their representative every 2 years. They could have easily made that 4 years or 6 years, 8 years. Every 8 years we would vote on They said every 2 years. In other words, the guy wouldn't even get into office before he has to turn around and start running for office. It allows us to talk directly to our congressman and let him know our feelings. Benny has ignored that. Okay, he's at a point where he believes he's the representative of life, and he can ignore the wishes of the people, not of the people of the 2nd District, which he should be bound to, but he wants to ignore the wishes of the people of the United States. Okay, but that's that elitist philosophy. I know better. You're dumb. Just sit down, be quiet, and I'll tell you what I'm going to give you and what you can do.
And that seems to be with a lot of them up there. There's some Republicans also.
Oh, absolutely.
But they forget, we're your boss. You're not our boss.
That's right.
We don't work for the government. The government works for us.
That's right.
Okay, and you're supposed to be listening to us. When 60% of the people say don't vote for health care, and you
That's
vote for it anyway,
That's right.
You're not listening to the people.
That's why the people of the 2nd District have an opportunity, and we were both running in there, and it takes a lot from the family and personal expenses to run these campaigns. But we're trying to give the public a chance to tell to Benny Thompson, okay, you're not listening to us, okay, now we're going to replace you. He doesn't think we can do it, okay, but I think we're going to fool him.
That's what, one of the things I campaigned on was that we were the silent majority for too long.
That's right,
now
absolutely.
It's time to raise our voice.
We need to raise our voice loud and clear.
All right, we're going to go down and see, and Benny talked about you not being in his district. Let's this one is
Oh, yeah, this is a good one.
So that the people in this district could pick the candidate of their choice to represent this district. That's our right as citizens. And so I would be the last person to deny somebody the right to represent this district, even if they couldn't vote for themselves, like my opponent. And I want you to understand, he's here tonight, and he'll have his chance at some point to talk. But I want you to know that the good people of the 2nd District, they know better. Now, how in the world somebody gonna come into this district and say, I want you to vote for me, even though I can't vote for myself? Now, think about that. You understand? So, my opponent says, at some point, he's gonna move into the district. Well, that's good. And we welcome everybody who comes. Because in a democracy, you can move around. But also in a democracy, people have the right to choose.
So,
Yes.
you're a carpetbagger, right?
You know, Richard,
I think that somebody yelled at him too. So,
you know, Richard, when I first started the campaign, when we both started the campaign, it was in March, when the deadline was, and I told folks very, very closely, very seriously, I said, folks, the very first thing Benny Thompson is going to call me is that northern-sounding carpetbagger. Now, I said this before Benny Thompson ever knew of a Bill Marcy, okay? So it doesn't surprise me that he would say that. But, you know, as I told the people of the 2nd District, the only reason that I was running in this race, because Benny had intimidated so many, as you know, Richard, so many of our qualified Republicans in this district that they were afraid to run against him. And it took a guy like you and I, just regular people, that were willing to step up to the plate.
well, let's not forget about George.
Yeah, well, that's right, George Bailey. Okay, between the three of us.
Yeah.
George Bailey's an excellent man. So between the three of us, they step up to
I'll
him.
be interviewing him one day soon.
Well, I'm hoping you do, because George, I love George dearly, like I love you. But this is a situation where there probably should be some other politician with a lot more name recognition than any one of the three of us in this race. And the reason why, and I think any one of the three of us thought that we would have a chance, okay, is because we would probably be not going up against anybody. Okay. Unfortunately, the three of us, three guys who were just American United States American citizens decided. But getting back to this residence requirement, as you know, the Constitution says, and I'm a constitutionalist, so let's just be honest here. The Constitution says that to be eligible to run for any district in the United States Congress, that number one, you must be 25 years old, and trust me, I got that one covered. I'm 64.
A couple times over.
Couple times. Don't make it that many times. Okay, that you got to be a citizen of the United States for 7 years, since the very beginning, 64 years. And then here's the interesting words. It's a special words, Article 1, Section 2, right at the top of the Constitution. It says you must be an inhabitant of the state at the time of the election. Now, for some reason, the founders thought that we should not limit that reservoir of candidates to just a district. But as I told people in the beginning, I thought they would probably want someone to live in the district. So when I told them that if elected, I would become a resident of the district. But Benny Thompson has beat me about the head and shoulders with his residency thing so long, I decided to finally take that stick out of his hands. So as of last Thursday, Susan and I are a resident of Warren County. Okay, we have a domicile over there. Okay, I have a lease. Okay, I have a commitment. Okay, even though I own two other houses. Okay, I have a commitment. At the time, both of my houses are going to be on the market as soon as I get them painted, and I'm selling them both, and I'm buying a piece of property in addition to building a house. So this is not just a short term for the election move. Okay, we have moved there permanently. So I plan to be a pain in Mr. Thompson's butt for a long time. Okay, so I'm glad he beat me with this stick. He kind of encouraged me to move this step up. So, Mr. Thompson, just for you and your friends, let you know that now I am a resident of Warren County, the county that voted for me 83%. So I appreciate it.
And not only you're also helping the economy because, like you said, you're building.
I'm building.
Putting some guys to work.
Putting some guys to work.
They're going to have green cards.
That's right. Oh, they better have green cards. I'm not playing that game. I'm not playing that game.
All right. So this is one of the big ones we're going to look at.
So the other thing is, I think it's a woman's right to choose. I voted that way from day one. I'll continue. I think when we start passing laws, doing all those things, we cross the line. And I'm going to say that way. And you know, let me give you an example of what happened. The individuals I talked to about that. When I said, well, okay, if we have children, but people don't care for them, who will take care of them? Some of those same people who are talking are going to say, well, we shouldn't provide food stamps for children, we shouldn't provide health care. So what are we going to do with it? Let them start again. And so I think in this country, people have choices. And when adults make adult decisions, they're the ones who have to do about it.
Wait a minute. Okay. All right. So then we have been on, I guess, one of the most controversial issues in America today, abortion.
Absolutely.
And
I don't think it's a controversy. I think it's one of the tragedies that we have in
there you
America.
go, tragedy. Of course, both of us being conservatives and God-fearing people, we're against abortion.
I think what makes us different, we're fathers,
Yeah.
okay? And any father loves their child. And to think that our representative would equate the birth of a child as a problem, it's crazy.
That's what, wasn't it Obama that said, you know, that she gets herself in trouble,
He wouldn't force his daughter through a situation like this. You know, I'm so happy that my mother and father didn't think that, because I wouldn't be here. You know, Benny talks about in that clip, and if there's any reason for any person to say I'm not gonna be behind Benny, I'm not gonna vote for him, is that idea that children should be murdered. He said he believes in a woman's choice. A lot of my supporters say, Bill, make him complete that sentence. And as a school teacher, you know sometimes you have incomplete sentences. Okay. Well, you know, when you say I believe in the woman's right for choice, you have to ask what's the choice, right? Okay. So that way you would have a complete sentence. Well, the complete sentence, I believe that a woman has a right to choose to murder her own child. That is where that sentence is completed. Okay, so it's not a choice for the child. It's a mother's choice to murder. Okay, and when Benny sits there and looks into the camera with his little, you know, like, I can't believe you don't understand that women have a right to kill their own children. It's something that goes deep against everything about me. Benny Thompson equates life with inconvenience. You know. If you don't want a baby, then you might as well kill it. If folks don't feel that the mother and the father have responsibility to care for their own child, and if we won't voluntarily give them money so that they can go out there and have all kind of children and not have to worry about their responsibility, then he says, well, since you're not going to take care of them, we might as well kill them. Okay, so what we're saying is that Benny is so radical. He's a radical. That Benny's so radical that I don't think any fair-minded person would ever think that you could vote for this guy. Now, honestly, I don't think the people of the district, especially the black community, understands Benny's position on life issues. And Benny has voted on a number of controversial issues. This is not just a statement at a public hearing, public forum. Benny voted. They had a vote in Congress to ban partial birth abortion, and a yes on that vote would be that it would be illegal. Now, of course, I'm sure everybody understands partial birth abortion is in the last trimester. It could be in the last few hours that the baby is being delivered, that the doctor pulls the head of the baby out and then sticks a needle in the head and sucks out the brain and declares the baby aborted. You know, that's just absolutely murder. Okay, Benny voted, okay, no on that issue. Benny said, not no that I don't like this issue. Benny says that a doctor, by voting no, to ban it. It was that Benny thought it was a good idea, that we should leave this procedure there for a doctor to be able to abort a child in the 9th month. You know, I know the people of the district are not aware of that. The people of the district are not aware of another one of his votes. He had a vote that he thought that it's something right about voting that a scientist should be able to clone a human being in a test tube. Okay, we're not talking about what's the word? In vitro fertilization. We're talking about actually creating a human being. Okay, now that's God's work.
Right.
That's not man's work. But the worst one, I don't know if it could be worse than partial birth abortion, is that, you know, like in the 2nd District, our western border borders on the river. So that when you cross the river in Greenwood or Greenville or down at Port Gibson, you go into Arkansas or you go into Louisiana. Well, we're trying to run all abortion clinics out of Mississippi because we don't like them. Benny said it was all right for your neighbor to take, God forbid, your 13-year-old daughter, who happens to be in an expectant way, and against your knowledge and will, take her across one of these bridges into one of our adjoining states and get her an abortion without telling you about it. And by doing that, he thought that should not be a crime. Now, I don't know about you, but God forbid someone took one of my daughters across the state line and did this against my wishes, then I'd probably be sitting over there at Parchment Farm with the rest of the crazy people.
Yeah.
But see, and the worst thing about this, Richard, I mean, there's a lot of worse about this. You understand, and we talked about this during the campaign. Since 1937, there were 6 judges that voted. Five judges that voted for Roe versus Wade. 5 out of 9. So 5 justices decided it was all right for us to kill 60 million American children in those 37 years. 60 million. Okay? Every precious life is important. But let's talk about the people who Benny says he represents, people of color. Isn't it interesting that Benny supports a procedure, a murder, that takes 38% of those children who have been murdered are children of color? Now this is crazy, since black folks only represent 12% of the population. So that's more than 3 times as many children of color are being aborted. Now you would think Benny Thompson, a man of color, would be a father, would be sensitive to this issue, okay? That maybe somebody's trying to kill us, okay? And one of the things I've been talking to a number of our clergy, our clergy, both white and black, but primarily black, is about what they call black genocide that has been occurring over the years in America. And this genocide has been primarily focused from the Democratic Party, even though we've had quite a few Republicans that have supported this. But either way is wrong. But Benny Thompson believes, he has drank the Kool-Aid, that it's something right to kill children of color or children in general. Okay? So when he says what he said at that hearing, I asked the people of America to tell Benny Thompson he's wrong.
You know, it's a sad thing now. And one of the things that I brought up and we talked about was the fact that, you know, there's no telling how that 60 million, what if one of those guys could, or one of those babies grew up and discovered the cure for cancer?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Heaven forbid, a new energy source.
Absolutely.
You know, but now they're not here. There's a story, I can't think of the guy's name, real famous guy did and now you know the rest of the story.
Paul Harvey?
Paul Harvey.
Yep.
Told about 2 mothers that had to make a decision. You know, they were unmarried, if I remember correctly. They both decided, their family was trying to encourage them for abortion. They both decided to keep their children.
Mm-hmm.
One of them grew up to be Leonardo da Vinci, the other one hit. I mean, you know.
Well, you never know what you get, do you?
But the thing is, you know, how many more Leonardo da Vinci's could we have had?
Absolutely.
Now, of course, people pull up, well, how many more Hitlers could we have? Yeah,
Well, but
I think we've had more on the Leonardo side than we have on.
absolutely. I was at the Neshoba County Fair, and I use the same kind of analogy. I said of that 60 million children that have been killed, remember, they would be 30, the oldest would be 37 years old right now. How many Albert Einsteins did we kill in that bunch? Or better still, how many Dr. Martin Luther Kings did we kill in that bunch? Okay? So you never know what the plan of the Lord is. But, a baby should not just be killed because of inconvenience. Okay? And for folks like Benny and Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson, men of color, to perpetuate this genocide of babies, but more so black babies, take money from organizations like Planned Parenthood, which has a horrible history of killing babies of color. The Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sangers of the world, I've always felt that there was two sets of people in this world. There were people that were fit to live, and there were people that were unfit to live. Now, I don't know about you, but I know what side they thought I was on, okay? And I'm glad that
that was the reason, was to control the black population.
it was exactly to control the black population. And it's interesting that the Democratic platform, the party's platform, the National Party platform, supports this, okay? And they want to call the Republicans racist. And the Republican platform has from 1973, when this horrible law, this ruling, it wasn't even a law, when this ruling was passed, have always said that they thought the right of a baby's life was precious. Okay, so we should look very hard and very long at individuals like Benny Thompson and ask them, what have they sold out? How radical are they? The Chinese have always believed in that if you had more than one child, you had to kill a third. Okay, in Soviet Union, it was the same thing. They would take a child, and if you didn't like it, you just take the child and force their face down in the snow and leave them there, and then in the spring they would kind of come up, but they'll be dead. In Nazi Germany, Nazi Germany, this whole idea of eugenics, which is killing of people you don't like, came from America. Okay, came from Theodore Roosevelt. Came from Woodrow Wilson, all good Democrats, okay? And it was perpetuated all the way through. So when Hitler finally got this idea, which he got from America, that he was okay to sterilize people and to kill them, he thought that he could take it one step farther and just kill 6 million people. If America could sterilize 60,000 innocent people, then it was all right for him to kill 6 million. Okay, and when that didn't work, when that was uncovered, Planned Parenthood, or Margaret Sanger, she invented Planned Parenthood, and that was a way of continuing the killing, but with the help and the consent of the mother. And there's a lot of history on this program, but when it finally, they came up with the pill. The pill was to control the black population. It's documented. The same company that was involved in creating the gas chambers in Germany, were the same company through a chain of names that invented the pill, okay, the birth control pill. And the birth control pill was not as successful as they wanted, so when they came up, because they kept trying, that we got to kill this population of unfit, and there were a lot of whites in there, okay, if you were a poor white, you were unfit too. So they finally got it to a point where they came up with abortion. That caught on. It caught on like fire. Okay, and now, 37 years later, we're looking at 60 million. So what do we do with if we think very badly of Hitler for killing 60 million? What does the Lord think about us? We've killed 60 million. So.
Well, on the thing Benny was saying on there, that if people are supposed to be responsible, they don't want the responsibility of a kid.
Right.
Why don't you take worry about that responsibility at the conception?
That's right. That's right.
So.
But for Benny just to openly stand there and kind of sneer, and say, well, we don't take care of the ones we have now. So why should we bring any more into the fore?
And the thing is, there's so many people out there that would adopt,
Oh, absolutely.
you know, without having to, you know, like some of these, you know, it's where it's more, what's the word I'm looking for, where, you know, glamorous to go to Africa.
That's right. You don't do it in Africa. You can go right here in Mississippi.
Kids here.
Right here in Mississippi.
Kids here, you know, and that would love to be adopted by a.
Absolutely. But we should teach our young adults and old adults that when you decide to create a baby, there's a long-term responsibility for that.
All right, moving on to our last subject is going to be, I guess, the second biggest issue.
Immigration.
Immigration.
Okay.
And now, both of us follow pretty much the conservative stance. Let's see what Mr. Thompson thinks about immigration.
Let's try. Let's find out.
The likelihood of an immigration bill passed, comprehensive immigration bill passed, it won't happen. It's too controversial issue. Too many people are divided. Let me give you some of the review. Well, I'm going to spell it out for you. There are about 13 million people in this country who are here illegally. Now, most of those individuals who are here illegally are here seeking better economic opportunity. They came to this country for jobs. Most of the time, if you check on the weekends, they're sending money over back home to their families. So, you know, they're trying to make better. And when I look at the kind of work they're doing back-breaking work. They're planting trees for the farmers. Catfish plant. Every cotton gin that we have in the Delta right now is run by migrant labor. So there are a lot of things that's already into the economy in this country. Now, Ronald Reagan, when he was president, he provided an opportunity for those people who were here illegally, and he just gave them a blanket amnesty. He said, you were here, you're working hard, you have broken the law, other than come here illegally, then you're now an American citizen. And nobody's coming. So when they bring it up now, when Barack Obama brings it up, it's the worst thing in the world. Ronald Reagan already has done it and set the example. So I think what we have to do is give people what's called a pathway to citizenship. What that pathway means? That means that you have an opportunity to go sign up. You can either get your green card or you can get your citizenship papers within the prerequisite time. And so we can move on with this. You know, we are a nation of immigrants. This lady who sat right here said that she's from Germany and somewhere else. She's an immigrant. Her parents are immigrants. You know where our forefathers came from. So who are we to all of a sudden say is not good enough to come to this country? But we can make that pathway to citizenship. So if they want to come, they'll pay taxes. If anything else goes just like any other citizen. Right now, they're not doing that, and we need to fix it.
Okay. They're doing back-breaking work. You know,
it's...
And they use the Reagan thing. You know, I always get to kick me. We'll pull Reagan out. We'll use him now, but for that one thing, and then we'll put him back.
Well, I wish you had used George Bush, because during the George Bush administration, they tried to do the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and John McCain and George Bush, they were all lining up behind that, and the American public said no. So we're not just saying no to Barack Obama, we've said no to George Bush. Okay, Ronald Reagan is a very smart man, and I respect him tremendously. But Ronald Reagan had some flaws, and one of his big problems out here was on immigration. And they said exactly what happened. They said, Mr. President, if we allow these 3 million people to come in the country, then everybody in Mexico is going to say, well, I'm going to come to the country too, and I just have to wait long enough. And after enough of us are here, they'll let us in too, okay? And it went from 3 million to 12 million. Okay, so if we let this 12 million in 10 years from now, we're probably looking at 50 to 60 million. This country cannot absorb that many people. But Benny Thompson, here's another part that I just don't understand Benny Thompson. Benny Thompson represents one of the poorest districts in the nation, for the last 17 years or even more, the second district has been in a recession. Even when America was in the best of times, the second district was in a recession. Now the second district, while the country is in a recession, we're in a depression. Okay, we've gone from having 30 or 40% to almost 50% in certain areas where people are unemployed. Now, how can this representative say that my people are too lazy to go work a job that someone else will work? Okay, or in one part of it, he talks about the veterans. He says, these veterans won't do this hard work. If it's not in the office, air-conditioned office, they won't do it. Now, that's an insult to my veteran friends, because I know a lot of them have served over there in Afghanistan as well as Iraq and other places around the world where it's a lot hotter than in the Delta, Mississippi. Okay, and they weren't in air-conditioned offices, and they weren't in places where the workload was easy. So for him to indicate that the people of the district are just flat out lazy was an insult when white folks said it back in the 60s. It's also an insult when Benny Thompson says it in 2010. What we really need to do is look at Mr. Thompson and say, Mr. Thompson, where are your values? Okay, where is your love? If right now I was told that there are over 49,000 illegal aliens in Mississippi. Was with the governor earlier today. He said it could be as many as 200,000. Now, right now, if we could put 50,000 of our unemployed Mississippians to work, we would have zero unemployment. Okay, so if we have 49,000 to 200,000 illegal aliens in Mississippi right now, okay, then that is the problem of our unemployment. Okay. We need to tell Benny Thompson that people in Mississippi are not lazy and never been lazy, and but Benny doesn't see that world there. Benny sees these 13 million or 30 million. We really don't know how many there are. We know it's a lot. We know it's too many. He calls them undocumented workers. Now these are illegal aliens. These are people who, for whatever reason, left their country to come here. We need to send them back home. Okay, I'm willing to it wouldn't be the first time we had excursions into Mexico to beat back the narco drug terrorists. Okay, we might need to do that. Okay, as much as I would not want any of our young men to spill their blood in Mexico, I don't want that war, that border war, which has already crossed the border into Arizona and has killed ranchers and other folks, kidnapped capital of the world, threatening our troops, threatening our border officers, threatening our sheriffs. I don't want that to move any farther in there. But Benny Thompson believes that these 30 million people are just unregistered Democrats. Okay, and what he's done is taken his black people, who historically we are the underclass, and thrown them under the bus as being lazy. Okay, they're too lazy to do these jobs. But we know that these illegal aliens depressed the labor, the cost of labor. Where if we got rid of those, there would be less people in the marketplace for those labor jobs, and the wages would go up. So there are a lot of reasons why we don't need these extra people. It's not that we're not kind-hearted. We are very kind-hearted. But the problem is that we need to feed our families first, and black people need these jobs.
Well, that's what, and you used the example. I remember you telling about your father telling you, come to the front door, get a glass of water.
That's right. For a little food.
But they come in that back window?
You come to my back door, and you come in the middle of the night when I'm sleeping, then you're going to have to talk to my dog and my gun.
And that's kind of what they do. They're coming to our back door.
That's right. And not only are they coming through our back door, they're coming into our living room, and they're telling us that the living room belongs to them.
And I saw a video today on the internet. One of the local Tea Parties sent it to me. Mm-hmm. And it showed an immigration rally,
mm-hmm.
a little immigration rally. It was, protesting, against the immigration, it's like a regular
mm-hmm.
Tea Party. But it also showed some protesters
mm-hmm.
against that. Brought an American flag out, brought Arizona flag out,
mm-hmm.
stomped all over it, had,
mm-hmm.
epitaphs written all over it.
Right.
And these are the people that want us to welcome them into our country.
That's right.
And
That's right.
here you are stomping on our flag, stomping on our freedom,
That's right.
and to them it's just a clause.
Right.
But as I've told my students, that's not just a clause. That's
That's
a
right.
symbol.
Of everything that we are.
And not only that, and I know Mr. Randy will agree with me on this, it's a symbol of the men who have, and women who have laid their lives on the line.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that you can have that freedom, so that you can stomp on that.
Well, that's one of the reasons that we don't want unfettered immigration, because people don't bring our value. When they come to our country, they don't know our values. They bring those old habits from the old countries, and that could be Europe, or that could be South America, that could be over in Asia. But one thing about America, we love this country because we know we have freedoms, but these freedoms, for freedom, is not free. And as Mr. Randy says over here, that we, our brothers and our sisters and our mothers and our fathers have already paid the ultimate price for those freedoms. And we must understand it. But any country that opens their borders to open immigration is one step away from that country's destruction.
Right. Well, the thing is also, and looking at, they keep talking about how the Tea Party is racist and all.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go to their rallies, you don't see that. There's nobody burning flags. There's nobody stomping. There's nobody destroying cars or building. But you go to one of these other rallies.
That's right. It's a lot of violence.
Where more liberal rallies where they're protesting something. The police got to come out.
Absolutely.
The police come down to for example, tonight we were at the forum. Police outside,
It had nothing to do. That's right.
Come inside, got cool, watched,
That's right.
No protest.
Well, they call the Tea Party racist, and being a man of color, and being kind of very, very prominent at Tea Parties, obviously they don't know what they're talking about. Okay, our support, came from primarily from the Tea Party people, and they loved us. Okay, so it has nothing to do with color. Okay, Kim Wade, a very famous talk show host here in Jackson. Kim Wade, I think Kim could run for governor and get elected. He's a man of color. Okay, he that's right. He's a founder of the Tea Party. So we have to understand that this is just a democratic way of trying to rile up the black vote. They're trying, because they know that the black vote, they need the black vote to get mad and come out and vote without thinking. Kind of like they do in Washington when they vote without reading the bills, okay? But if black folks start to think, wait a minute, these patriots that are there were probably the same people that came down in the '60s and helped free the people from segregation. Like the Republican Party, they're always negative on the Republican Party. Come on, Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. Okay, it was the Republicans that led the passage of the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. Okay, and civil rights. Okay, if it wasn't for the Republicans voting in the numbers they did, which was far superior to that of the Democrats, the civil rights bills in the '60s would never have been passed. And let's not even talk about the civil rights bills of the 1960s, because there were civil rights bills of the 1860s and 1870s, which were the exact same bills that they passed. All we needed was enforcement. I don't know why we had to vote on those bills, because the bills already on the book. Then the government just need more paper, yeah. But the problem that we had were not the Republicans, okay, or the Tea Party people. It was the Democrats. Okay, and now how Benny Thompson and Barack Obama, as they say, you're sleeping with the enemy.
It's got to where they don't realize Tea Party people. We're not looking at color. We're looking at issues.
Yeah, issues.
Now, why wasn't it here when with Bush? It wasn't called a Tea Party, but like you said before, look at amnesty.
That's right.
Protest people called.
That's right.
Wrote.
That's right.
We've just organized now.
That's right.
And you're in trouble.
To talk about love for country, Richard, when we were up in Greenwood, did you notice it? That, we had a whole bunch of people there, and the United States Congressman was there. Did you hear the recitation of the Pledge of Allegiance?
Not once.
Not once. Okay? You go to a Tea Party meeting, not only are you going to get a prayer, we're going to stand and all say the Pledge of Allegiance.
And have somebody sing
the national anthem. Now, what is wrong with a Benny Thompson that would not insist? It's because it was his meeting.
Right.
That
Which
we all say the Pledge of Allegiance. That's right. It was his meeting.
Yeah.
Right. I'll get my chance one of these days. Yeah, I'm holding my breath for that one. But I appreciate you.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming out. Looks like our time's about up. I do want to ask you now if we can get Benny to a debate.
Oh man, we'll sit right here at this table,
Okay. All right.
and we'll slug it out now. And I look into this camera right now, and I've already sent him a certified letter to all four of his offices in Washington. Benny Thompson, I challenge you to a debate at any time, in any place, okay? And you pick the moderator.
There you go. All right. Well, Bill, we appreciate you coming by. What's the website?
BillMarcyForCongress.com.
BillMarcyForCongress.com. Y'all log on. You'll find out. If you didn't find out enough about him tonight, I'm sure there's a few other things there.
Yeah.
The reason we did this kind of forum was so that he wouldn't no time constraint.
That's right.
When speak his mind. So we appreciate it. Be sure you come back next week. We've got a lot of guests lined up over the next few weeks. Visit our website, weknoweverything.com, and you can also.
I love that title.
You can also find us on YouTube at youtube.com/weknoweverything. And you can email us at weknoweverything. What did I put? .usa.com. weknoweverything@usa.com. Excuse me. That's what it is. So y'all have a great night. Come back and visit Bill and say, hey, send him some money. He needs some help.
Hey, amen.
All right, have a good night.
Praise the Lord.
All right.